Hey, it's Tony again from Type 5 Reviews. As you can see, we're kind of in the middle of a backyard renovation, and I've been noticing that our kids haven't been using the swing set as much lately since they're getting a little bit older, but they keep running over to the neighbor's house and deciding to jump into their little pool. So we've gotten rid of the swing set and we're starting to get prepped for our own small pool. So let me take you inside and show you what I decided to get. Now, if you're on a budget and you're looking for a small pool for your kids, you really only have two options. One would be one of those easy set pools where you just fill up with water and they have a inflatable ring around the top. Our neighbors have one of those, and while the kids love it, I wanted to go with something that might be a little bit more sturdy and where the sides would stand up a little bit straighter to allow for more room. So this is going to be a little bit more of a setup, but I measured out our back area and decided that we can go with one of these 12-foot round frame pools by Intex. It does come with its own filter and hoses, but it's going to take a little bit more to set up than just set on some level ground and fill with water. So we'll take a look at how we're unboxing this, but first let me go back to the backyard and show you what I'm doing to get the ground level and some of the materials that you might want to use based on how I'm setting up our pool.
To set up the pool, you'll need to start with a level surface. I've chosen an area in my yard that I knew is fairly close to level, but to make sure it's level all the way around, I've marked where the center of the pool will go, and I'm using the edge of a 6-foot straight board to screed the surface perfectly flat. You'll want to keep the edge of the board closest to the center on the ground and raise and lower the outer edge of the board until it's level as you drag it around the circle. Identify any high or low spots and fill it in accordingly. I'm also looking for any sticks or rocks that could damage the liner during this process. Now that the ground is leveled, I wanted a smoother surface for the pool to rest on. Instead of spreading out and leveling a lot of sand, which would work, I decided to use 1.5-inch foam boards. Not only will this make a nice surface for the bottom of my pool, but it'll also make it much easier to level my block supports for each of the posts. To identify where you'll need to place the blocks, you'll need to open the pool and lay out all of the pieces. The legs are actually hidden inside the upper ring pieces. Next, you'll want to lay out all 12 T-joints and connect them together with the upper support pieces without the liner. This will allow you to adjust exactly where you want the leg supports of the pool to be and will help you identify where you want to place your blocks. You'll then want to lay out a block under each leg support and trace around it with a Sharpie to mark exactly where each block will go. Once the blocks are marked out, you can remove the pool pieces and work on cutting out the foam for the blocks. My Ryobi jigsaw worked great for this part and cut out the foam very easily. Now, since I'm using 1.5-inch thick blocks, the blocks will sit nice and flush with the surface. If necessary, I can make small adjustments to the dirt to make sure the block doesn't stick out above the foam. This process was a whole lot easier than digging out and leveling each block with the ground so that they wouldn't stick into the liner. As an extra precaution, I covered the edge of the block with some leftover deck flashing tape that I had lying around. To finish the surface, I cut out the remaining foam into a round shape and used a leaf blower to get rid of any leftover debris before setting up the pool liner. To set up the liner, you'll want to lay out all of the T-joints and upper supports before unrolling the liner in the center. While you're stretching out the liner, make note of where the filter ports are and adjust the liner so that the ports line up with where you want to place your filter. You'll then run each upper support through the top of the liner, connecting to the T-joints as you work your way around. The last support connection is tight, but once it's on, you can move on to connecting the legs. For each leg, you'll need to attach the base plate on the wide side. Then you'll want to attach the tapered side to the T-joint, but make sure that you feed the leg behind the middle band support. I also made sure that this middle band was not twisted as I went around attaching each leg. Throughout the remainder of the setup, you'll want to double check the legs to make sure they are lined up in the center of your supports. It's finally time to start filling up the pool with water. I recommend using one of these hose filters if you're using well water, as it helps to filter out some of the minerals that would keep your water from appearing clear. As your pool's filling with water, you'll want to get in and stretch out the bottom of the liner to remove the wrinkles. Start from the center and push the liner outwards, working your way around the bottom as it fills up. You'll want to continue this process until the entire bottom of the liner is covered with water, and then you can get out and work on setting up the filter. There are 2 inlet ports that have covers that will need to be screwed into place with the screws provided. Next, screw on the cover to the outlet port and the small relief valve to the top of the aerator. The filter will come with 3 shorter hoses and 1 long hose. I recommend connecting the 3 shorter hoses to the provided T. Use the hose clamps to secure each hose connection. Make sure that the black O-rings don't slip while you're connecting your hoses, or you may get hose leaks. To connect the inlets, press them through the ports in the liner, and after attaching the hoses, use the hose clamps to secure them into place. Press the outlet through its port and use a hose clamp to secure the aerator to it, making sure that the relief valve is pointed up. You can then connect the fourth larger hose to the outlet using a hose clamp. To finish the pump setup, connect the inlet hose to the top of the pump and the outlet hose to the bottom using the provided hose clamps. And if you're wondering what that extra white part is that came with all those pool pieces, it attaches to the drain at the bottom of your pool so that you can connect a garden hose to drain the water away from the pool whenever you need to empty it. After you're done connecting the pump, it's a good idea to go around and check that all of the legs of the pool are standing upright in the correct location. Since we are almost done, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget that you can find a link to this pool in the description below. Comment below as well if you have any other helpful tips for first-time pool owners. While the pool continued to fill with water, I went ahead and used some leftover pieces of foam and a rubber mat to make a nice entrance point for the pool.
Alright, so it's been about 5 to 6 hours later, and we finally got the pool completely filled up. You can see the leveling that we did here at the very beginning is paid off. The water level is pretty even all the way around. And actually over here, I've included a stepping stool that the kids can get in and out of a little bit more easier. I actually had this black leftover horse mat from Tractor Supply that I used from a different project that I thought would make a good surface for the kids to step in and out of. So the last thing to do is to come over here and turn on the pump. All right, first time you go ahead to turn on the pump, you want to make sure that the lines are evacuated of all of the air. All right, and you'll need to prime the pump. In order to do that, you want to go ahead and unscrew the top here just slightly. All right, you might see a little bit of air come out, and then the water will start dripping over the side. That lets you know that all the air is evacuated out of the system. We'll close that up. And then lastly, we have a timer here on the side. You can see it's marked for 2 to 10 hours. We can go ahead and we'll just start this by flipping it to the 2-hour mark, and our pump's running. All right, so my water's looking a little bit brown here because of all of the iron in the well water. I'm gonna go ahead and follow this up with another video on how I'm adjusting the chemicals for that. And I'm also gonna be making another video here on burying an electrical line so that I'll have a place to plug in this pump over here. So if you're interested in either of those follow-up videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And as always, I've done the research, so you don't have to.